Alright YouTube, what is happening? We are doing a new video on a, new to me anyway, company that I hadn't heard of before called Defcon. They do fixed blades, Foley knives, etc. They're actually, but the brand that I am familiar with is Proelia, I think that's how you say it. And it's made by the same company, and they reached out to me basically to do a review on these knives and kind of let me pick something, which was kind of fun. So I did a fixed blade and a folder for you guys, and we're going to talk about the folder first because that's more of what interests me. It comes in a nice pouch, and this is a large titanium frame lock flipper that they sent me, which when I saw it on their website I wasn't too sure much about it. There wasn't a lot of info, just kind of like in their catalog it showed this knife. And this is the TD1001. Not sure if there's any other model with that. That's just the model number they gave me. I'll go over the brief specs real quick. You have an 8 and 7/8 inch overall. Blade is 3 and 7/8 of S35. You have a handle of 5 inches. It is on bearings. It is cage bearings, drop point blade, satin finish. You have a great toted. You do have a titanium pocket clip, a starburst type pattern on the handle, which I really dig. That looks really nice, and you have that's all titanium. So it's a huge knife. This is way bigger than I would normally carry. Now, again, I didn't know a lot off the, because you kind of saw their catalog, said, "Oh, I like that one, I'll pick it." So a little bit bigger than I carry, but the point of this video is to talk about this company and how their how their knives are manufactured, their quality, the fit and finish, and stuff like that. The MSRP on this knife, they told me, was $350. Now that's obviously MSRP, so excuse me, $395. I would say it's going to come in quite a bit less than that in actual stores. I haven't seen it actually for sale anywhere either. Kind of interesting. So $395 would be an outrageous price for this knife if you were to pay that, because it's made overseas. It is a well-made knife. We'll get into that later, but value-wise, but that's kind of like how cold steel, they MSRP everything like double what you normally pay. So I'm guessing it would come in around $200 or less, which would be a lot better. So it is a pretty large, like I said, large folder. It is very smooth. It has a nice action. You can see the flipping, the D10 is very dialed in, which is really nice. And it's ultra smooth. I mean, it falls shut. It's a big heavy blade, so it probably should fall shut, but very, very nice action. So I'm definitely giving them props there for the action on this knife. It is dialed in. You do have a stainless steel lock bar insert as well, and the milled titanium clip. The handle is comfortable. Even though it's big, it's not like the way that the handle contours here. You're going to get your whole hand in there, and it fits really nicely in the hand. It's got some nice jimping up here on the thumb wrap of the blade, as well as on the frame of the knife here, which is not overly aggressive, which is nice, so it doesn't cause any hot spots when you're using the knife. You do have a hinder style over travel stop there. The clip is nice, it works well too. Let's go ahead and give you the weight on this. It's pretty heavy, but they've done some lightning. They did some lightning pockets inside the handle here. So 6 ounces roughly, 6.1 ounces is what it comes in on my scale. So it's a big, heavy folder. A lot of guys like big, heavy folders though, so this is definitely up their alley. They did lighten it though quite a bit by doing some lightning pockets inside of here. So, and then you have a standoff, open flow through construction. You can see the pockets. Let's see if I can get. Yeah, you can see the pockets right there on both sides of the handle. So it does lighten it up quite a bit. So for being such a big knife, 6 ounces isn't too bad. After all, look at like the ZT456. That thing's over 6 ounces and it's quite a bit smaller. So, but a very smooth action, nice flipping action. The blade came pretty sharp out of the box. Yeah, it's actually quite sharp. It has a nice kind of a fuller here that it's kind of unfinished, I guess you'd say. I don't know what kind of, maybe like a bead blast finish in there. Nice blade shape, your traditional drop point blade. So very good flipping action though, guys. I mean, it's super ultra smooth. Look at that, just flies out. Great detent. So they definitely dialed down the action. The fit and finish on the knife is really good. So this is my first experience with this company, and I thought I'll choose kind of their flagship model, their best model, to see how it compares to maybe like a Kaiser, other Chinese made knives. I mean, here's a Kaiser Alter Ego there, Kaiser Matanzas, I think that's how you say it. There, the Tuya knives, Bruiser. It was called the DT model. They just changed it. That's a very similar sized knife. the Proelia, the Defcon, excuse me, is still a little bit bigger. So, but overall, my first impressions of the company and of the knife are actually quite, they're good. I don't know what their pricing model is, because all the stuff on their website is MSRP, and I don't actually sell anything directly on their website. They sell everything through dealers, kind of like most companies do. But I haven't seen this knife for sale anywhere. So I'm guessing it's going to fall in the $200 range. Around there, maybe $250, which, for a Chinese-made titanium frame lock with S35 is a little high on pricing, but we don't really know what the pricing is going to be. It could be less. So, we'll just have to wait and see on this one. But overall, it's nicely centered. Good first impressions on this knife, guys. It's comfortable in the hand. It's a bigger knife, but it's super smooth, and it has some nice action. And I think it's a very attractive looking knife. I love the kind of the starburst pattern on the handle here. That's a nice touch on the titanium. So you do have some milling on there, so that would drive the price up a little bit. But overall, a good folder. So let's go talk about the fixed blade. So they sent me this fixed blade. This is one I picked. I think this is the TD06 model. Let me just double check, but I'm 99% sure that's what it is. Yeah, TD06 series. With an overall length of 9 inches, blade of 4.5, handle of 4.5. You have a D2 steel at Rockwell hardness of 59 to 61. This is the trailing point model, they call it, kind of a Bowie shape. The satin finish, and you have a nice G10 handle scale, and you have a really good sheath. The sheath is actually Kydex, and then it has a tech lock. It's sort of a tech lock. It is a little different than most tech locks, but it works well, and it just goes right over your belt and snaps into place. So it came with a nice sheath, and a lot of companies really skimp on the sheath, so that was really nice to see that it came with such a good sheath. It's just got a lot of oil on it. I'm just going to wipe it down. Probably they oiled the heck out of it because it's D2 steel. But D2 is, not as bad as like a really high carbon steel. Yeah, there's still a lot of oil on there. So they have the Hydra model symbol on this, but maybe it's called the Hydra and the TD06. A lot of companies do that. Like, one thing I will, just looking at this handle, and you can see how thick the blade stock is. It's incredibly thick. Like, it is a beast of a knife. 0.2 inches, 0.2338. So about a quarter inch, a little over a quarter inch thick blade stock on this guy. Very thick. Let me just... I know this isn't a very accurate way to measure it, but yeah. So I'm getting about the same. So over a quarter inch, 0.26, 0.27 area. Very, very thick. Nice jimping up here. The handle is G10, and it's got nice contouring. I mean, it's not going to fit everyone's hand. It fits my hand perfect. That's the disadvantage of doing a really heavily contoured handle. I shouldn't say contour, that's not the right word, where they basically add these finger choils, we'll call them, finger grooves in there, and that's going to fit some people's hands. So for my hand, medium size, fits really nicely actually. You do have a nice finger protection here, thumb guard we'll call it, or finger guard on the blade. It does have a bit of a recurve to it, and with that big of blade thickness, I wonder how thick it's going to be behind the edge. I'm guessing pretty thick. 0, yep. Yeah, 0.045, so it's very thick behind the edge. So designed to be a tough, outdoor fixed blade. Not going to be the best slicer in the world with this kind of thickness behind the edge, but a very tough, knife you could really beat on if necessary. There is not a, it's kind of a sharp spine. Let's see if it'll strike with fire still. I had one. I literally just had one handy like a minute ago. What in the world did I do with it? Oh, there it is. Probably shouldn't do this on my regular nice leather pad. Just curious to see if it has a sharp enough edge. Yeah. It'll throw a little bit of a spark. I don't want to do it too hard. Put it down here. Not down on there, so on that. Yep, it'll throw a spark. So it does have a bit of a sharpness on the spine up here. Not so much down there, but up here you could strike a fire still. I didn't do it too hard just because I wanted outside, and you know, not a good environment to be striking fire steels. But overall, pretty just a huge beefy fixed blade. It's heavy too. It's gonna come in with that thick 1/4 inch thick blade stock, a little over a 1/4 inch thick. It's 10.8 ounces, and it's not a very big knife, so it's a bruiser, just a big heavy knife that's, you know, maybe tactical more than, you know, outdoor bushcraft, but it could probably, if you needed to start emergency fire, if you needed to. I don't think you're going to be feather sticking with this knife very well, because how thick the edge is. I do have a stick in here though, funny enough. Let's see. Yeah, it's not going to feather stick great, but I mean it'll do some shavings. It'll do something. So it's not horrible for being so thick behind the edge, and it's got a comfortable handle. This is a weird angle to be doing this at too, but just want to do a little brief demonstration. So not bad. Overall, you know, user fixed blade, I guess. Kind of tactical. You know, not sure honestly where it fits, but it is heavy duty, but it is comfortable in the hand. That jimping is not too aggressive. That felt pretty nice when I was getting that stick, and the handle is very comfortable. So I could see it being used as a kind of a tactical fighting style knife. I mean, it might be a little heavy for that as well. So I'm not exactly sure where it fits in, honestly, because it's a little heavy for its size. Not a little, a lot heavy for its size. Usually you're going to see a 1/4 inch thick blade stock on like a big heavy chopper style knife, not a knife of this size. So, but I mean, it's a well put together knife. It's comfortable in the handle. It has a nice sheath. So, you know, those are my impressions of their TD06 fixed blade as well. So I want to thank Defcon for sending these knives out for review. I definitely like this folder quite a bit. I wish it was smaller. It's huge. If they made a smaller model with like a 4 1/4 inch handle, or even a 4 1/2 inch handle, maybe a 3 1/2 inch blade, I would totally be down for this guy. A little big for me for this size. So I want to thank them for sending these out for review. And as always, thanks for watching. Any questions or comments, leave them down below, and we'll see you on the next video.